Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Hope you're having a great day. If you haven't seen it yet, of course, I don't know what time you're watching this video, but at 11 a.m. Pacific time, we're doing the roundup. So you want to check that out on Calvary Chapel Signal Hills webpage or YouTube page. It'll be on all of the places that you can watch their stuff, of course, and I'll be on there live. But today I wanted to share from Matthew chapter 5, and I just want to say something really quick. Matthew 5, 6, and 7, this is the Sermon on the Mount. This is the most information that we have recorded in the Bible, in the Gospels, about an actual teaching that Jesus did, like one beginning to end, and this is a spectacular stuff. You could study the Sermon on the Mount your entire life. I'm sure it's been done. You know, it is deep, it's profound, there's so much stuff there. And I'm going to read from Matthew 5. I'm just going to read 3 verses, starting in verse 10. This is the part that people don't like, including me. You'll see why. He says this, verse 10, "Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when they revile and persecute you, and say all kinds of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so they persecuted the prophets who were before you." Now, like talking about persecution and all of that, not really a super exciting topic. I'm just going to put that out there. But he says this at the beginning. He says, "Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake." And here's the thing. This is what a lot of this comes down to. When you are living righteously, because the world is evil, because there's so many wicked people here, sooner or later, somebody is going to be, I don't know what it's called, be driven out of their mind. And all of that because of your righteousness. They will hate it. They'll hate you. They will hate righteousness. They'll accuse you of all sorts of crazy stuff. And Jesus says that in that case, you're blessed. Okay? Now, I've said this before. I want to say it again because it's important, and I want people to understand this, that we have to remember that this world is actually one of the enemies of us. It's an enemy. It's a wicked system. The world is a wicked system. And I'm not talking about the planet. I'm talking about the system, right? Now, God can use it. God does use it. You know, there are things about it that God uses, you know, like governments. But these governments also are part of the system that are just totally wicked. And, you know, God can still accomplish his will despite the fact that evil people are elected to offices and all of that stuff. But we have to understand, if we're expecting it to be comfortable here, while we're Christians, our expectations are probably wrong. We have to, look, that's not the goal. That's the point. It's not the goal to be comfortable. The goal is not that we would have just the American dream here, or whatever country that you're in, that dream, right? Jesus says, "Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake." Now, I'm going to say something, okay? If you're being persecuted because of your wickedness or your sinfulness, that's something else, okay? And I have had people come to me and try to explain that they were being persecuted for righteousness when they were really being not persecuted. They were reaping what they sowed. They had been sinful, they had been wicked, and that wickedness brings trouble. Okay? That's what it does. It brings trouble. And that's a different thing. Okay? Here it's saying when you're walking in righteousness and people come after you because of that, actually you're blessed. And he says, blessed are you when they revile and persecute you and say all kinds of evil against you falsely for my sake. Just understand, this is going to happen. I can't even believe how many times this has happened to me. I generally have plenty, like I'm the sort of guy that actually, is friendly with people. Okay. I'm not the guy that makes a lot of enemies, but I can tell you this has happened to me over and over, where people have come against me. They've falsely accused me of things. They have, lied about me to try to get my job, not my current job as a pastor, but other jobs that I've had in the past. They've done all sorts of, like, this stuff has happened to me. And, every time I catch wind of this stuff going on, every time I've gone to the Lord and I said, Lord, this is your deal. My life belongs to you. Do what you want. I'm going to let you direct these things. And I can tell you that in these situations, right, God has intervened over and over. There was actually a situation where some years ago where a guy was just telling lies about me because he didn't like that I was getting favor in the workplace, and I was seeking the Lord about it. I was trying to figure out if I needed to confront the guy or win. Is he just somebody that's talking or whatever? And he got arrested. And that was the end of the problem. It was, because a whole mess of things happened after that. But understand, I didn't want the guy to get arrested. I'm just saying what happened was I knew after that, I just knew, like, okay, Lord, your hand's in this. And understand, this is going to happen. People are going to revile us. They're going to persecute us. They're going to tell lies about us. Don't be surprised. I don't enjoy it. When it's happened to me, it's really easy to get worked up. And some of that is righteous. Sometimes the pride kicks in a little bit and it gets out of control. But understand this. None of that, it doesn't matter. You know why? Whatever somebody says in this world, whatever false accusation, whatever lies people tell, this is saying we're blessed. Okay? And I personally think this is Jesus literally saying, understand, there is a special blessing in this. There's a special blessing for you when you go through this. And he says, rejoice and be exceedingly glad. Great is your reward in heaven. That's it. And he says, for so they persecuted the prophets who were before you. This has all happened. It's going to continue to happen. And the Lord does not miss it. Okay, when it happens, he doesn't miss it. And he says he's going to reward us. Now, I personally, this whole thing always helps me. It helps me to keep my perspective. It reminds me this is what it looks like when you live for the Lord. Not only are you living for the Lord, you're living to the Lord. And what that means is what you're doing day by day, hour by hour, that is directed to God. It's done to glorify him. It's done because you love him. And when you live like that, regardless of if people really soak it in and say, wow, that's what a godly life is like, or if they turn on you and go after you, it doesn't matter, because what's being done is between you and the Lord. And you can just look at that and you can say, Lord, this is for you. I think sometimes we forget that it's that simple. I think sometimes we forget that's the way it should be done. I know I do. So, anyways, reading this every time reminds me, first of all, that I need to just be prepared that things like this are going to happen. But secondly, as I live to the Lord, as I live for the Lord, the focus of my life is not on getting the approval or disapproval of this world. The focus of my life is to honor the Lord, knowing how much He's blessed me with, to be light and salt in this earth, and to fulfill what God's called me to do. Okay, keep that focus. Don't get knocked off of that train. Do you get what I'm saying? So, anyways, especially these days, as it's getting kookier and kookier, where you don't even know. Somebody told me the other day they heard something. There's like over 70 genders. There's all of this, all kinds of stuff. You can't keep track of it anymore. It's getting crazier by the minute. Okay. We don't need to. We need to live for the Lord. These are the days to live for Jesus Christ, to shine like His son and daughter. Whatever you're called to do that faithfully. So I hope that blesses you. I hope that you're having a great day. Looking forward to see what God's doing this weekend. May the Lord richly bless you and lead you. And I will see you either on the roundup or I'll see you Monday morning. God bless.